Water Buffalo TM is back with another Buff Talk.
3, 2, 1. Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Old School Matt here. We're back with another Buff Talk here with my boy Mike Crisio, aka Mr. Mike's Workouts. Before we start, Mike, how you been, bro? Welcome back. Thanks for doing this with me.
Been good, man. Thank you for having me again.
Anytime.
Always fun.
It's always a good time. It's always a good time to have a discussion. Before the podcast, Mike and I were just talking about a little bit of his past experiences. He did a recent talk to a church. Mike, how was that, bro? How was speaking publicly for the first, or not for the first time? Was it first time?
No, yeah, I would say it was my first time besides like school projects and things like that, that I for sure have to speak in public, but just like me as an individual, as a professional in an area, it was the first time. Mm-hmm.
How was it?
It was really good, man. For me, speaking in public, speaking to camera is a little challenging. I'm not just like self-conscious about my accent, about the way that I deliver things. So I don't think I do too bad, but it's something for sure that I want perfection. So yeah, it's
awesome.
Just like, yeah, first good experience. It was good. I liked it.
And yeah, you were talking about like fitness and
fitness, how to start exercising, the importance, the benefits. I was talking some about usual excuses, obstacles that people might encounter in trying to start working out. So how to overcome them.
Interesting.
Yep.
A lot of the stuff that Mike has preached is some good stuff. So make sure to go check him out. And we've talked about some stuff like this before. But getting on to the topic for today's podcast, we wanted to talk about some of the controversial stuff I've been putting up on my Instagram stories. I think it's a good place to start off on some topics for some podcasts and have a discussion.
Nice topics, man.
Yeah, it's always fun. It's always very controversial. People get very upset and very heated and passionate in my DMs. It's actually caused a lot of like attention to my messages, and people have been spewing their opinions and bro, people fight with me and stuff. I'm like, dude, I didn't even say anything, and I just put I didn't even put my opinion. Yeah, so we wanted to talk about has America gotten worse or better? Let's just say since we've been around. I know Mike's only been in this country for 5 or 6 years now.
Yeah, 6 years.
So
it's coming to 6 years.
And I've only been, I think that anybody above the age of like, I would say 13, 14 is mature enough to form an opinion. Yep. So I've only been around that age for about 5 or 6 years now anyways. So I think it's a good time for us to kind of discuss. Let's just talk about the last 6 years in this country and has it gotten better? Has it gotten worse? What do you think has gotten better? What do you think has gotten worse? So open the floor. What do you think?
It's hard to answer. It's hard to answer because I always have this mindset of trying to be as optimistic as I can. I'll lean more into getting worse. I don't want to say worse because I've seen worse situations coming from Venezuela. But yeah, for sure, especially what we're going right now, gas prices going up, all the racial problems that we have been having, in that sense have gotten worse. People also has been more talkative about it. Like people want to like get their opinion out there, so it's like more challenging to talk about it. It's like so, and that's aspect have been getting worse. I think it's gonna be better times for sure, but on this period, like 6 years, things have getting a little complicated, a little worse for people.
Definitely, I think for the past couple years, it's been, and I would say, not even since Trump or Biden got put in or out of office. It's just been like since COVID, things have changed a lot. I think that's one of like the good things that have changed. The country was kind of like seeing how we, and it's like you said, it's not a good thing that the changes from COVID haven't really been good for the economy, but it's good to see how we have reacted as a society and where we need to be better. So I think it's a good thing that something like COVID happened because we kind of like pointed out a lot of flaws that people have. A lot of people, and this is one of the things that I think is pretty interesting to talk about, is that a lot of people say they didn't have a lot of time to do things in life, but then when COVID happened, they had all the time in the world. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people didn't really change their lifestyle or their habits and kind of stayed in the same lane of life, if that makes sense. It was kind of like a wake-up call. I think it was a good thing for people to kind of get that wake up and say like, hey, you might lose your job, or you might have a lot of free time let's just say the flip side, you might have a job that's now remote. You know, a lot of people weren't working remote before COVID in certain industries, and now people do, myself included. So there is like good and bad. And I think that big reset really showed people like who they were. You know, a lot of people wish that they could get in shape, and a lot of people did get in shape after COVID, but a lot of people got worse. They got, you know, heavier, or they got more unhealthy. And I think that like that's the biggest event that's happened in my life so far, probably maybe in yours too, in terms of like a global event. Like we didn't really suffer through 9/11 because we were young, but that's and the recession of 2008, you weren't here, and I was too young to understand that. But I think COVID was the first event that kind of like showed how an economy could change and how a world can kind of change in an instant, right?
Yeah, I think that was a positive change for sure. I mean, I think for people, it bring more self-awareness and on themselves and the things that they wanted to do. Just kind of like comparison before COVID, after COVID. Now for sure, I agree with you. People need more open and see different things like they can do. They can work online. They don't want to spend as much time in an office. That's part of what we see. We see some shortage on job positions right now, like minimum wage and things like that. People don't want to do those kind of jobs because they found now like, oh, let me just go outside of what I used to do before, and you know, different tools that I could use to bring money to the house just in easier ways.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's positive.
I think you're right on that too. Like, it's like I think that workers are really empowered right now in the sense that, like, you know, you said the rising minimum wage, whether that's good or bad for the economy, it's a different conversation. But, you know, people are figuring out that if they have skills, they can get paid and they can do things that will, you know, they have like negotiation. They can be like, no, I don't want to go to an office. I want to work from home. You know what I mean? I want this pay because I'm going to get offered from here, here, and here. And I think that before COVID, and I don't know what it was, but the way that I saw the job market was like, you'd be lucky to get a job. Like you're blessed if you get a job, you know what I'm saying? Like, and the same thing, we talked about internships before. Like you said that for your degree, you have to get an internship, and it was pretty standard that internships were free, even when I started college. But now, like even in the past year or two, people are getting paid like full salaries for just being an intern. And like, it's changing because things are getting competitive in terms of like, I guess the workplace benefits have just been incredible. And I think it has to do with society's push towards like getting away from like abusing the workforce, which is a good thing. Some people might think that it's like too much because they're giving workers too much. Like, for example, a lot of people are against maternity leave and paternity leave. I don't know if you're... do they do that? They don't do that in Venezuela, right?
Yeah, bro, but I mean, it doesn't work. They have the ideas. Probably some people can get it, but it's just like, I don't know. It doesn't work.
Yeah, so I think that like America is pushing for a more, and let's just say equal or fair work environment, which is a good thing. But it also, if you're the owner of the company or you're like, you know, a higher up, it could be a bad thing too, right? Yeah. But that's something where I think that, you know, the country has gotten better per se, but it also could be also like balanced out by the fact that inflation is higher than it's ever been. Everything's way more expensive. Housing prices are through the roof. You know, supply chain issues. You can't get a car. Oh, well, now it's better, but like a couple months ago, I think it was like car prices were like ridiculous. So you get a good and you get a bad. In terms of socially, I think that the country has gotten worse in terms of like people interacting with one another, just like on a conversational basis. A lot of men are afraid to speak to women. I think because of like dating apps and like social media, they're afraid to approach women because they don't have the protective barrier of like a phone. And that's one of the things that I think that influenced our society a lot more differently than our parents and grandparents, is that just like technology is so prevalent now. It's been prevalent throughout our childhood and our adolescence, but now it's just like technology is just everything, right?
Yeah. I think if we want to put this conversation in just one direction, it will be those two words: empowerment, people being more empowered to exert an opinion and being get jobs and the source of income that they have, and also the growth of the technology that we have. Now we have yeah, now it's everything online. We dating online. We checking up relationship, interpersonal relationships online, jobs online. So we turning into this phase that everything is on the phone. That it makes worse the interactions on person to person, on life situations. So relationships, the way that we interact with each other, if we don't share the same idea, we just get angry, anxious, and things like that. And that sense have make it worse. It could make it good in a sense. We talk about the jobs, but in this sense, it's a negative aspect.
I think so too. In terms of dating and stuff like that. I mean, have you ever experienced online dating?
I have, but I don't see the connection out there. I don't like it. It's not an experience that I like. I have some good experience and bad experience, but in general, it's bad experience. You don't meet the right kind of people just because you got a lot of things on what it's building in a relationship. You want somebody that shares the same routines as you, the same things that you like. A common background, and I think you caught in too much of that edge and going to social media. You don't really know the person, or you don't meet them on didn't meet them on the gym, you didn't meet them on church, and something that you're already doing out there. Yeah. So you're cutting a lot of those edges, or you're not meeting the right people for you.
Definitely. I think that that's a way, and America especially. I mean, I don't know how it is overseas. I'm sure that it's getting there in most developing countries, but like we as a country, we embrace the online dating site. Like there's like advertisements everywhere. For you. Every time you go to like downtown on a weekend, there's always a girl walking around handing out like Bumble. So I don't know. I've experienced. Have you seen that before? They give like Bumble or Tinder.
No, not Bumble. Probably like OnlyFans and things like that.
No,
they're Bumble, like going on away.
And University of Florida, people like girls will walk around. You know how they have like Red Bull girls? Yeah. They give out Red Bulls. Okay, they used to have like girls that walk around with like Bumble or like Tinder or Hinge or whatever.
Okay, gotcha.
Give out, and that's all you see. And I think that's part of the way this country has gotten worse, is that people are afraid to date in person now, and they meet online, and like you said, you don't really know what a person is like or their routine or who they are, because you just see their profile and they're just highlighting their best attributes.
Yeah, and everybody can look good at pictures, so just whatever they put in the bio or whatever, just know. Yeah. It's not the person. It's not really the person that you're gonna meet. It's same thing happened on Instagram. Same thing happened in the social media. We all just exposing like the best part of ourselves and not really like the good things, the bad things. So yeah.
And I think that it's really important that anyone out there that is interested in dating or is dating, which is majority of people, is to like, if you do find somebody online, because I can't see things going back. Like I can't see like dating apps disappearing. I just think that it's too big of a monster. Like it started early in the 2000s when they had online dating, but now that it's like at the access of your fingertips, I think it's ruining the way people perceive their marketplace value as a girl or a guy, because like you have the option of swiping through hundreds, if not thousands of people on a weekly or monthly basis. So before you would be like, okay, I only have these options. Now you have unlimited options. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And it's hard. I think you mentioned it a little bit before, just like it's just hindered the confidence of men to approach women in life situations. They don't want to do it. They don't feel comfortable enough. They don't feel like value. So they just go into these dating sites. If these dating sites don't working for them, they fall into pornography and things like that. 100%. So it just
and it gives a lot of the woman the power. It takes the power away from men, the dating apps, because obviously men are getting less matches unless they're like, you know, tip top of the chart. Men are getting like substantially less matches than women. Women will get matched way more than men. So it takes the confidence. It's true. It takes the confidence away from men. And when they want to go approach a girl, they're like, you know, I've been swiping all day on Tinder. I don't get, you know, what is this girl is not going to speak to me in person. But I think that it's important to get a connection with somebody, and it's important to meet somebody before you like, and that's another thing, is that people will date online for like weeks or months before they even meet the person. They'll be like contacting them, texting them.
Wasting time.
Exactly. And not even that, but like they'll develop full on relationships.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
they'll be like boyfriend and girlfriend online before they even meet. And then they meet, and then, like you said, they don't even know who they are. And they get like, it's crazy. That's the thing that I think that the country has gotten worse, is that the dating standards in this country and the way that we date as individuals has gotten worse. I'm no relationship therapist, but I don't know. I think that when you show somebody too many options, they get like really indulge in the fact that they have the ability to date or be with a bunch of people, that they get lost. It's like when you go to a buffet, like when we went to the buffet and I ordered like a bunch of shit, and then I realized I couldn't eat all of them. Have all of them.
Or you didn't like all of them. Like you ordered a bunch of food, it seemed good in the menu. Like,
yeah, and I would, and that's what dating sites are like. They're
sushi with mango. I think I remember.
But it's true, right? It's like a dating site. It's like a girl or a guy will see. Let's just say the girl will see like 10 or 20 different guys that she thinks are like this, amazing guy just because they look good. Yeah. But then the girl gets overwhelmed with men, and it makes it harder for them to really hone down on one specific, person. Same thing with guys. I mean, the guys see a bunch of girls online, and it's hard for them to say, if it's not this girl, I have 500 different options or whatever. And
not just matching, like let's say you match with a person that you can keep like 10 conversations at the same time. It's just like,
exactly.
You see, you're not putting your focus on only one person, or it just gets so messy. It can get so messy for an emotional aspect, and how you see yourself and how you value the person that's talking to you. It's never gonna be the same as interacting on person to person and meeting somebody on a live.
What about like, do you know anything about kids in this country or no? Like, you think kids have gotten worse? Or you can't really base that off anything?
Probably a little more. I think that these, just in general, if I want to put it in comparison to Venezuela, a little more entitled, they have more, for sure, more opportunities, and so that the attitude that they have and how they do things, how they treat their parents, and how they behave, it's just very different because they feel entitled to the things that their parents are giving them, the opportunities that they have, the quality of the life they have. So that's what I will say. It's a different, and probably it's getting worse just because of all these things that we have talked before, technology, more time at home. It just has made it a little worse. They're being more submerged in technology, more intolerant on the things that they do.
Have you ever seen kids at dinner with like an iPad or something?
Oh yeah, man.
Bro,
yeah.
that pisses me off.
Yeah,
that really pisses
dinner with
me off.
iPad. And I don't know, bro. I have seen some weird kids, man. And just because it's just, I feel it's just because the amount of exposure they have been on technology, and
it's not healthy.
So immersed that when they go outside, they seem weird.
Yeah, that's true.
The way they interact with people is it's not.
And I was like a video game kid. Did you play video games in Venezuela, or didn't really have it?
No, I didn't. We have them, man. I have like a PlayStation 1, 2. Yeah, I think even the 3. But it was
you.
Yeah, I don't want people to think like, oh yeah, he just doesn't understand. Some kids some problems and stuff. No, these are not kids that have problems. Like, I don't want to put a diagnosis or anybody like there, but it's just kids that they don't have an exposure to outdoors, to people, to being outside. It's just like you can tell, man, that they're normal kids because I have trained them, I have just interacted with them in the gym and things like that. And they seem pretty smart kids and things like that, but the way they interact with people is just weird because they haven't had that amount of exposure as we did before, or our parents, or some kids that I can compare it to them that I know their parents have them in sports and things like that they make them have that relationship.
People that I work with say that I'm good at communicating my thoughts and my opinions, and I'm good speaking, but like I don't really see myself as that. I just think that it's what we talk about right now is that like people are so like they're like so anti like interaction with people that it's like that's becoming. I wouldn't be surprised that if in 20 years from now being like what's it called, like being able the ability to speak and have a conversation with somebody else would be like a skill. You know what I mean? I'm serious.
It's
like
the
kids might be like. Or not the kids, but I guess the kids when they grow up, they might be amazing at programming and computers and coding and whatever. But I feel like people like that are normal, and when I say normal, I don't mean like this trying to make fun of them or any means, but I agree, because I don't think they get the social interaction that we got as kids. Because even when I was a kid, I never had a phone or anything, and I would grow up and we'd play with like Legos and stuff, and even video games, like there would be a certain point to where it would be enough.
Get boring, just like
But now with the kids, they have the phones and they have like YouTube, which is like gives you videos all day long, and even you or me can get stuck in the videos. So as a kid, imagine like during the summertime, if your parents are working, like I used to go out and fish and whatever, but if I had a phone, I probably would be on my phone all day long. And they don't have data restrictions. Like when I was a kid, bro, my phone, when I had a phone, I was like, I think 13 or 14, I was going into 8th grade. I had like the first like real smartphone. I had like 1 gigabyte that I could like go on the internet with. You know what I mean? In high school too.
Everything is unlimited.
And everything's unlimited. You can watch videos all the time, 4K streaming. It's like you get attention all day long. And I seen it at restaurants when I see kids with the iPad at the table, and I'm like, bro, if that was my son, I would like, it wouldn't be my son, but like they have the iPad at the table and the family's talking and the kid is on the iPad. I can't understand it.
Something that I found always so fascinating is just like the kids. You can get right now a 3-year-old kid, bro, and they manage the phone. They know where to go. They know how to open the app. They know, like, bro, come on.
I know. I didn't know how to do that when I was younger. We didn't have that when we were younger either.
Probably I get a new phone right now. I still have to like figure out a couple things, you know.
Yeah.
But they just go and know everything. Open YouTube. They look the video that they want to watch.
I think it's going to be a really weird change. I don't know if it's going to be a full integration with the internet. I don't know if we're just going to like one day just merge with the internet, because it seems like people are more comfortable in their online profile space than their actual real body.
Well, did you just see? I think this was already last year, or maybe at the beginning of this year. Facebook becoming like the metaverse. And how they advertise it. That's scary, bro.
I didn't see the advert. What was the advertisement?
It just weird as fuck, bro. It shows Mark Zuckerberg, and he kind of like explaining the metaverse, and he just like probably something like what we're doing right now, but everything that's just like you're a fuck. I don't know, an elephant, and I can put like an icon, but it's just like me interacting with you. It's just like with the headset, you get into this space, like what they call the metaverse, and
I think that's
just weird.
When I think,
and he can explain like, oh, you could go to the gym like this, you could go to work, you could go like for everything, every aspect of your life. I don't think it's nothing that doesn't exist right now, because people has been playing like these games, these simulators, games, sims, and stuff like that. They already exist, but now it's like merging together like in a space that all people go and meet.
Yeah. I think that it's going to take probably another generation of kids to fully like when our children have children, that's when things will be like completely different. But I think that with America pushing a lot of diversity and inclusion and like this embodiment of what it's like to be American, because I think that there's two American ideologies. There's like the new American ideology, and then there's the traditional American ideology. You know, like there's the patriotic, the I love my country for what it was for, you know, the founding fathers and the Constitution. And then there's a new America that's forming that's like, it's not, and I don't mean to say this in any like racist or segregated type of way, but it's not the white America that like we think. When I say white America, I mean like what people think is white America. Like I love the flag. I love like, you know, I love fishing. I love hunting. I love shooting guns. I think that there's going to be a new America that's more of like a melting pot, where it's like a bunch of different communities that are coming from different parts of the world. So I think that there's two different. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
No, I do see it. And me coming from somebody that I didn't grow up here, I don't see patriotism as something white of being like white American. Just seeing like, hey, you're proud to be an American. You're proud to. For immigrants, we are proud of becoming an American. We're proud to be in here, and we're proud to see our country improve. Some people see it that way, like, oh, if I just love the flag, I love America, just like more towards a white culture. I don't see it that way. I have never seen it that way, and I will never understand that point. And for me, any ideology that goes against that patriotism that you have for your country, it just I'm not gonna agree never with that. But yeah, do you feel like this patriotism, this culture is being lost through times? It's like minimized?
Definitely. That's what I was gonna say. I think the new generation is more for like a inclusive, like everybody. You know, America's this melting pot that we don't have to look back at what we were as America in terms of like the Constitution and the different accolades and accomplishments that the American history has shown us. I think that America will be lost within the next 100 years. And I don't know if that's a good thing. I don't know if that's a bad thing. I am proud to be an American. I'm more patriotic than anything else. But I think that the other America, and I don't want to say it as left and right, but the America that's more of like, you know, we need to change the core values of this country is what's going to be for the future. Because I think it's changing already so much that it's hard to have that patriotism that we used to have, you know, because the American dream is not, no one really says it anymore, you know. It's not no one really says the American dream anymore because it's not really a dream anymore. You can kind of just do it now. You can kind of come here and do it. And that's what people are pushing for when they're talking about, you know, immigration on mass scale. Is like, it's not really a dream if anybody can just come do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, just the idea of American dream and the patriotism, I don't see and changing. I feel like we need to change some things, but I don't see patriotism like too far. Like I don't see like one thing or the other. We can still make change and progress and progressing and being this melting pot that America is becoming, and still feel like good about the country. Like still like cheering for the country, still being patriotic and being proud of being American. I think that's where we're getting lost. Like. Right now, we feel like as a society we're living in two extremes. Like it just crazy, bro, and it kills me. Like, oh, you either super left and you have these old crazy ideologies, or you're fucking white and then you want to just kill and want to all this crazy thing. You're racist.
Yeah.
So it's just never like gonna be like a middle thing, and you either love America or you just wanted to change. And
that's probably the worst the worst thing in this conversation that we could talk about that America has gotten is the fact that this country has gotten so divided over the past, I would say 10 years.
Yeah.
Because like I never saw it like this. Like from what I remember, I never saw it as like this extreme left and right.
Yeah.
But I do think it's because we're allowing the spotlight for people that are on the extremes to have, and more importantly, or more, not more importantly, but more specifically, the left having a bigger spotlight of their extreme ideologies than the right, which is a conversation for itself. But I think that's what's gotten worse. The worst thing about this country is that we've gotten so divided. Like I remember people used to like say stuff about politics when I was younger, but I didn't really fully understand. And maybe that's because I wasn't mature enough to understand. But I never saw people get into arguments like with their family members and not speak to them because of like their ideologies. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But how do you feel media have influenced that part of having a bigger aperture to left ideologies and not so much for
100%?
You feel like it's that way?
Yeah, and I think it ties back to what you said. It's two things: technology and what was the other one you said? Technology and
just people being more empowered to take decisions of their life.
So that's both of them. I think is the reason why the country is so divided. Is because I think people have the technology is really exaggerating a lot of the issues that we're having, and I think that a lot of, I don't want to say fake news, but a lot of like fake news gets put around the internet, and people just see headlines, and people trust in media more than they should. And people have always trusted in media, but now we know because of technology that media is extremely corrupt on both sides. And we see that people still trust the media as what they're saying is gold and it's the truth. And that should be disconnected because people shouldn't trust CNN or whatever news station they're getting their information from as an unbiased source. Clearly biased. There's clearly bias all over the news. And I think that the normal person doesn't understand that, so they believe what they're hearing and they're getting pushed to whatever side that they're on.
And I think it's just crazy because I would like to believe like most of the people is just like us. They're like in this middle ground, pro America, but okay, understanding that we need to make some changes to for a better society. And we just get caught up on what social media and the media are saying that that's what they sell. That's what they sell. They sell extremes.
Exactly.
So if you turn a little more into the left, you just go to the ideology, and whatever you hear from the other one, it's just like no, I cannot agree with you just because like media, that's what media is exposing us to. Like don't agree to each other. Just eat what I'm like what I'm delivering to you. It's just like, and it's just such extreme, and it's already proven like this ideology of patriotism, when they have less views, that somebody you follow that ideology just and want to express it on things like YouTube or things like that, you're always gonna get less views. Just like they cannot block that content. It's just crazy.
Yeah, and that's another thing. I think that another thing that's gotten worse about this country is the power that social media platforms have gotten, but it ties back to technology. And that's something that as a culture we've just assimilated to using technology too much. The reason why Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and all these other Twitter has so much power is because we give them the power. If no one used them, then they wouldn't have the power. If half of, and let's just say like we're talking about conservative censorship online. If half of if all the people that were like tired of it just quit the app, then they wouldn't have the power that they have. But we keep using the apps because we don't have not that we don't have a choice. It's just the world is so tied to technology that we don't have a choice, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. We basically don't have a choice because where else you gonna go? Like if you don't use Instagram, how you gonna expose yourself, or how you gonna interact with other people? It's just like it becomes to the point like if you're not in those social medias, you're not anywhere,
And it's hard because it's like a double-edged sword, because I love working from home. I love having the freedom to work and do the things I have to do based off of the skills, versus like before, work would be more of like a 9 to 5. You stay in an office. If you don't have anything to do in the office, then you kind of just waste your time in an office. The work doesn't give you the freedom to do things that will help you progress in the future as a professional. They kind of just want you to be there, and it's just tradition. But we broke that with COVID, and now everything's online. If I'm, doing what I have to do, I have the blessing to work from my home and from where I want to go. I have the freedom of going here if I want to work from here, but I can't avoid the social media problem because everything I'm doing is online, and I can't say that, okay, well, I want to remove myself from social media. It doesn't work that way. Everything's already online. So it's either you take one or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, we're happy that everything's moving to online, but we can't really complain about social media giants taking advantage of their platform, because do you see what I'm saying? We're submitting to everything being online, but then we can't pick and choose what we want online, what we don't, because it's just the way life is now. Yeah,
we almost forced to be on those social media, and it's very unfortunate because they just got so big, man, that somebody to start something different, it's almost impossible.
Yeah. I mean, no one's forcing you to have social media, but like in order to interact with people around your age, and I like social media for what it is. I've had this conversation before because it allows people to share some things that I would never know about other people, and it's interesting. People teach stuff online, people talk about things like we're talking about, and it's interesting. But then there's like the other part of social media where people argue and fight, and it's interesting sometimes to see people argue and fight. I'm sure you've seen it online. It's interesting, but when it happens all day long, I think it's destructive towards society, and more likely than not, it's probably gonna be what causes us to really implode from inside.
100%, man. I agree. Totally.
But just kind of taking a shift. What do you think that the country's gotten better at?
Again, the empowerment of people. I think I would like to say we are more open to other ideologies. I mean, we for sure people that from other preference, other sex. I think we became more understanding, more welcoming to those kind of people. I would like to think so. I don't see as much troubling right now. Like if you see somebody gay on the streets and things like that, they don't feel.
You're saying gay?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I would like to think in some way we became more understanding on some some other cultures, some other people. I see it that way. But yeah, I would say that's about it. But maybe people also like trying to take it more in an entrepreneurial type of way on how they do things. They're more self-aware. They like to think to do things more on their own. I feel like a lot of people, because of COVID, they got into really serious into investing, things like that. Yeah, just kind of like being more self-aware and more protected, more knowing what to do and having a better future, a better perspective of what you want to do in the future.
I think things have gotten easier to do in the past 6 years. Like technology, it goes back to what you said. It's kind of crazy. Technology just gotten better.
Yeah.
So certain things have gotten cheaper. Phones have gotten cheaper. Things have gotten cheaper to make in terms of like specific. Like back in the day, in order to buy a camera like this, I'd probably need like $20,000.
Yeah.
But nowadays, technology is so good that things are just, and that's not everything. Like obviously, we talk about gas prices and stuff, but certain things like are a lot cheaper to make, and you can do a lot of things, like you said, empowerment, like you that you couldn't really do before. You have the power to learn a lot of different things now. A lot of things are that would cost you a 4-year degree and 4 years of your life. You can learn within the 6 to 8 months in like a boot camp online or like a YouTube video. A lot of more exposure towards the different types of knowledge that's out there, outside of just books. I think that helped a lot. A lot of people have kind of lived a lot of their curiosities out by being able to have the exposure to technology and stuff. Like, for example, let's just take like a hobby like fishing or hunting. Like, in order to learn that back in the day, you would have to have like a mentor or like somebody that was like, with you, teaching you. I can go online right now and watch a couple videos on how to load a gun. And I'm not telling people to do this, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you get a good idea of things that were like pretty dangerous to do on your own. If you were to ever like learn how to shoot on your own, it'd be kind of hard. And I still recommend someone have them with you, but you know what I'm saying? Like things that are like very complicated and very complex.
You're talking very specific, but it could be anything. It could be editing things at home, using programs, using Photoshop, using all those type of things. So whatever skill, I think that's something that I have for improved for sure these last years. Things easier to learn, easier to make money out of it.
I'll say real quick. I had a thought. I want to see what your opinion is on this. So you talked about gay, and it's Gay Pride Month.
It's Gay Pride Month.
You didn't know that?
I guess I knew. I kind of knew. I've seen it.
So I saw a video of like kids being exposed to drag queens, right? Like you've seen those videos before, like little kids. Yeah. And I saw someone posted like a commentary on it, and they said, even though people are like pissed that kids are exposed to drag queens and stuff like that, right? People might think that's extreme or wrong. Why are people upset about that, but people aren't upset about Catholic priests molesting children in the church? Which I agree. I don't really agree with either one. Obviously, I have certain beliefs and opinions about both of those topics, but I think it's a good conversation to have. That's where like a lot of like, let's say conservatives or right wing people might be like, kind of like stumped, because a lot of conservatives are really pissed off about kids being exposed to drag queens and gay and lesbian, whatever, in schools, which I agree with. I think that's something that parents should teach the kids, but it's also the same people also go to Catholic church, in which like millions of children have been molested over the past 30 or 40 years. And I'm a Catholic, born a Catholic. What do you think about that?
So I think we just follow again into the extremes. People saying like, oh, kids gaining exposure to these drag queens or anything like that. It's not like, oh, they need to be exposure to this type of things. I mean, for sure, eventually in life, they're going to be exposure to it. And I think it's just in the hands of the parents, make them understand, okay, this is what's happening. This is what we think about that. And just kind of like lead them into that direction, but they don't need to be exposure to those type of things because they need to. Yeah. I mean, it shouldn't be forced, like, oh, they need to be forced and they need to get that exposure. They will be eventually in life. And I think the part of the parents explaining and trying to guide them onto those situations. And the same thing with I know there's some ideologies that schools should be the ones leading the kids into that. I don't agree with that. It's just like the parents on what they expect from the kids and how they want to, teach them about it.
Yeah, I agree. I think, and the reason why I just said that is because I thought it was an interesting take on things because, like, a lot of these parents are outraged about their children, or about other children being exposed to like homosexuals or drag queens or transgender people, whatever. And I might say, yeah, I don't really want my child to be exposed to that. But then they go to church on Sunday that supports a church that, like, you've heard of that, right?
Yeah,
like,
no, I've heard, and I think that's crazy. That I feel, this situation in comparison to both, that's worse, just because it goes against,
Oh yeah.
Oh no. Pedophilia, like, come on, man.
That's kind of why I left.
The church. It's worse for sure, but yeah, it's not like I think that they need to be exposure to those things necessarily.
Is that just a quick side note? Has that something that Venezuela's Catholic, right? That's like
that's Catholic. Probably happens. I don't know.
Did you hear about it a lot?
Yeah. I mean, I guess I hear it like as a joke. Like,
I hear it as a joke too, but I don't realize. It's real, right? Like,
yeah.
I always thought it was just a joke that people would make.
We used to have I have this friend. He used to be like I don't know, these kids that go to church and help the preacher. Yeah, the priest. I don't know what's the name, but we used to always joking with him. It's like,
and he might have. It's fucked up, bro.
Yeah, it's fucked up, but yeah.
It's and I recently, like maybe a year or 2 years ago, found out that was like
no,
it wasn't like something that you just told it. It was real. Like there's cases and stuff, and that to me made me think that the Catholic Church is a complete joke.
Yeah,
but
100%.
Last thing, if you had to like make some changes to the country, aside from the things we talked about, what are some things that you change about the USA, or you think we should just, like, if we could just stop and change everything that you thought was wrong, what would you change? A couple things, or do you think we should just let us continue and see where we go?
Continue as we go. I think it's gonna be hard. I think we going into an awakening point. Okay, I think most of the people understand that we are in a fucked up situation, fighting with each other. I think I want to be optimistic. We're going into a wake up point. But I think a lot has to change on the media part. Like, come on, we shouldn't make it the source of where we got our information. I think they have to have more control on the way that they do things. If we can change that, I'm sure society is not going to live in those two extremes. So it's kind of like those two things have to happen. This process of awakening that we have in control on the media, on the information that we're getting. And I think we'll be fine. I think we're becoming more accepting to some things. And we just have to put everything together, not live on the two extremes, Be proud of being American, but at the same time changing towards, being this melting pot that we already are.
Gotcha. What do you think about splitting the country into two?
Nah, that would be crazy.
You don't think so?
Nah.
Have you ever heard someone say that before?
Yeah. I think every country has that. Like, they have this state that they want to separate from the country because, a specific state, or dividing the country on two. That's not sustainable.
You don't think so?
Nah,
What about politicians? Do you think that politicians need to, like, what are your beliefs on like them as you think it's their responsibility? Because it's weird, because their responsibility is to incite people's emotions about their party, right? So like if they're on the right, it would be smart of them to make people more emotional about being right. If they're on the left, it would make it'd be better for them to make them more to the left, because that means they're going to vote for them. If they focus on them being moderate, then they could switch to the other side. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I don't really like politics. The way that I support politics, it will be more in an economic aspect.
I was going to pull out a Trump hat. No, I'm just kidding. I don't have one.
I support more the politicians on the economics perspective that they have into the country, like more interpersonal, all these things, all these social issues. I don't follow it too much. I think that's more the problem of the people, how they view things. For sure, they have some influence, but it's just more cultural. It's gonna be hard to change from a politician. Like, see how people, what's the view of people on racism, what's the view of people on doing these things, on abortion, all of these things. That's personal values. So I don't really follow politics or support politicians on that sense. It's more in economic aspects. So that's why those topics I'm not really good at it. I'm never gonna be understand or exert my opinion too much. But I think that's part of the awakening point there right now. I feel like some parties have been pushing too much to the extremes. So that's part of the awakening point that we have right now. We understanding right now that there is parties that they just want to manipulate you. They just want through the ideology push to the people that it's feeling less or make people feel less. And people it's seeing what they're really out about. So I think that's part of the awakening point, and it's just gonna be a breakthrough, man. I think the elections coming, it's gonna be a hit, and 2024 it's gonna be another hit, and hopefully more people, hopefully more people, see it that way, I know, just like a war in two extremes, like I can only support Democrats, or I can only support.
When you moved here from Venezuela 6 years ago, did you ever think that it would be like this political? No. When did probably when Trump came in, right?
So I actually came in 2016 right into the election. I was even able to vote. But I didn't think it was gonna be that political.
I think Trump is after Trump, things just got
I mean, it's understandable. The guy was very outspoken and everything. A lot of people hate him. A lot of people love him. So I would say he divided a lot of the country on the way he acts onto things. But I mean, it's just we need to change that as a society for sure.
Yeah, I agree with you when you say social issues should be left to maybe even the states or the local governments.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be social change on a federal level. Yeah. It doesn't make much sense.
It should be a support for sure. Because I mean, we are a lot of people in this country, but it shouldn't that the changes, rules and things like that, lawmakers, it shouldn't come from them. It's just, it's part of the culture of what we already have. It's what we already are. So from the part of politicians, it's gonna be hard to change. And just to make a point before, I feel like Trump divided a lot of people at the beginning, but the other side didn't make it.
Better.
They didn't make it better either. It's just it just became these nuts of people. These two extremes that
definitely
is nuts.
I think it's because Donald Trump was against what typically politicians do. Whether you agree with him or not, I think that he was just not a politician.
Yeah.
I think he was more of just an individual being the president. And I think
just outspoken, man.
Off. Yeah, I think it angered a lot of people, and it even split up a lot of Republicans in Trump either, and it just made and that with social media, I think combined is what really caused this huge divide in the country that we have. And when I say huge divide, I'm saying what is perceived online. I think that if you can reel most people in to a sit-down conversation, I have cousins and friends that are on the left, and I'm more right-leaning than anything, that I can sit down and talk to, and they won't scream at me because I'm able to converse with them. And I'm not going to be here I know I'm not going to change your opinion, but let's just if we're forced to sit down with each other, at least we can. And you want to talk about this, let's just talk about it. I'm not going to tell you why you should be like me, or you're not going to convince me why I should be like you. Yeah. But it's more of
that's a conversation. Trying to learn from each other, to learn from the ideology for sure.
We're really not that far divided if you sit down with people, but online we are, because everybody has to attach themselves to one side, and like you said, each side online is it's separated, because like I said, if you seem too close to the middle, then you risk, or they think they risk people going to the other side. So you have to keep them as far to your side as possible, because that
I'm becoming a Democrat.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you got to keep them real politicized.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that honestly, I think that we should just let the country continue doing what it's doing.
Okay.
I don't think we should make any changes and just kind of see where things go, because I think that if we try to make a change in terms of like fighting the resistance of the left or the right, or I think that it's just going to make things worse. I think that if we just let things, I'm a big proponent of like, if things are bad, you just got to let it like just get to the worst, and then eventually we'll figure it out from there.
I think that's what's going to happen. Breakpoint, and then make some changes.
Yeah, kind of like what you said. I don't think that...
Not the other way around, like changes and then,
I don't think any politician's going to change the landscape of the way that we're...
They never do.
Yeah. So, whether Trump comes back in 2024 or Biden comes back for another term, I don't see things changing. I do think it'd be interesting to see like... and I don't know, I might be speaking prematurely, but I do think it'd be interesting to see like what it would be like if the country just continued to do what it's doing. I think that it's going to be a really good social experiment for society. Like in 20 or 30 or 40 years from now, people will look back, even hundreds of years from now, and they'll probably, hopefully at that time, see where we made mistakes. And like, because right now is probably, it's right now it's so well documented that we have such a big political landscape of like ideologies that I think it's going to be interesting for people, because we can't really tell like how divided people were in the 1920s. Yeah, it's hard because we only have accounts from historians, but like now we have like people's personal social medias and like messages and the daily videos, and so we'll have all this like 100 years from now, 200 years from now. And by then, hopefully, we're like solved all the stupid issues, and we'll be able to look back and see like, wow, that was a time where people were really like fucking digging into each other, you know? Yeah. So,
yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun in 2024 for sure. See what's happening. I kind of like, I don't see. I wanted to say I don't see a reason in why Trump and Biden is gonna be against each other again, and I don't see why not.
You don't think Biden's gonna go again?
I don't see nobody else doing it, but I don't understand why both do it again.
You don't know
it's
why.
Like the autonomy of like of things. Like I don't see nobody else besides those two for something running for president.
I think,
and I don't see other people not doing it.
I can see Donald Trump just like tormenting the Democrats by thinking he's going to come back, and then he just doesn't come back.
Probably.
And then somebody else runs. But I do think Joe Biden's too old to run again.
No, man.
And that's the last thing. I do think that the president should, even Trump, I think that the president's age should be lowered by like 20 years. Because like presidents, bro, they're always like 70, 75. Like I think a good sweet spot is like between 45 and like 60.
Yeah.
You know?
100%.
I think a president that's too old you're not truly getting him. You're getting him and his team. Because regardless of whether you like Trump or you like Biden, like it's less about the individual, it's more about their administration.
Yep.
And I think as a country, we need a spokesperson that is like good on their own. You know 100%. What I mean?
I agree with that.
So anyways, thank you guys for watching this podcast. Mike, thank you, bro. Always a pleasure.
Man. For sure.
We'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace. All right, brother.
Hey guys, thank you guys for checking out this video. Make sure to go check out all of our other podcasts, Buffalo Barbecues, our Buffalo workouts, and also a slew of other things, including challenges and whatnot. So make sure to check out all of these different things. Thank you guys for watching. I am Old School Matt here, and this is Water Buffalo TM. Peace.